Sure. Hi, I'm Jason Mancebo. I publish the $20 Wine Blog, and I have a little thing called Chow Studios. We do creative digital media for artisan food and wine companies, and really that's about it. This is kind of a brief-in version of a talk I gave in Portugal at the Wine Tourism Conference, and is based on a TED Talk from a guy named David Griffin, who's the photo director for National Geographic, and he's a fabulous guy. So let's just look at a few images right now and take a minute to look at them. This is the famous Tank Man by a photographer named Stuart Franklin. This is Earthrise. This is probably the most viewed image of all time anywhere by astronaut William Anders on Apollo 8. Elliot Erwitt's segregated water fountains capturing 1950s North Carolina. Probably the most famous image of all time, Afghan Girl by Steve McCurry, who's a very famous photographer. There's an interesting documentary that was recently done going back to Afghanistan and looking for that girl. And this is probably the most powerful single image I've ever seen. This is Cassius Clay versus Sonny Liston 2, and you can just see then Cassius Clay in amazing shape, looking down, and Sonny Liston with his hands up. It says 1,000 words. So photography is extremely special. It has a really unique ability to capture something called flashbulb memories. Flashbulb memories are something we have, the brain immediately is able to capture very small minutes of portions in time. And photography is a medium of intimacy. We want to use it to be very intimate with the subject, whatever that subject is. On the left was the original image. On the right was the cropped image, and that was what we saw previously. So when we're using photography, we really want to focus and be as intimate as possible with the subject. So let's talk about a story. How do we go from an image to a story? So stories have beginnings, middles, and ends, and we use cues, we use time and order, and we use assumptions of the viewer, or sometimes no assumptions. So when we talk about the beginning, middle, and end, we kind of have those 6 things: who, what, where, when, why, how. And we can capture most of those from these 4 images. We know where it is, we make some assumptions, and we jump on to the next slide. So focus is a really important thing. Here's a nice piece of cheese that's soft. Doesn't really do it. Here's the same piece of cheese in focus, and it's kind of tough to see through the projector, but it grabs you significantly better, and you're able to see what it is, and you're able to see texture. And your brain is able to focus on the subject once again. Depth of field. Depth of field is the area of the image, the depth that's in focus. Here the front bottle isn't, the second bottle obviously is, and the third bottle isn't. We're able to imply the name out of focus, even though the subject matter is in focus. In this one, the Nico up there is in focus, and if you actually look lower, it's out of focus, but we know it's from Russian River Valley, we know it's from 2008, but our brain is still looking at that. Veracity in imagery is something called truth. It's the truth of what the viewer is looking at. Now, this is not very veracious. It's a combination of 2 images. You owe it to your viewer to be completely honest with your images. They're opening themselves up to you uniquely. You must respect that. This one's a little bit less, but a little bit more insidious. It's the same image, but if you look on the right, it's been significantly doctored to engage an emotional response, significantly different than the one on the left. Again, not voracious. So how do you get all this together? You shoot and you shoot and you shoot and you shoot. I've been doing this for 25 years, and I shoot and I shoot and I shoot. You can't improve by not using your camera. And that was 5 minutes.